Time now for Futures in Focus. Let's welcome to the program Dan Deming of KKM Financial. He joins us from Chicago from the CME. Dan, the OPEC Plus group is meeting in Azerbaijan over the weekend. The expectation has got to be in the market that we see the deal being extended. What is the minimum that OPEC needs to deliver to keep this rally on the road?
Well, I think any extensions to productions right now, Guy, are going to keep a bit under the crude space. And ultimately, the Saudi oil minister earlier this week indicated that, they don't foresee any changes going into June. And if they continue the extensions, in production cuts, that you would suspect that any type of extension there would continue to firm and hold a bit under the crude space. I think one thing that's interesting, though, this morning, we did see the IEA, the International Energy Agency, come out with a report indicating that the one thing that they're concerned about is when you look at the price of oil is the spare capacity that's being built in now. Even though production cuts are at a 4-year low, there's plenty of spare capacity. So I think that's why we saw oil sell off initially this morning.
Dan, we talked about Venezuela earlier on in the program. How does OPEC manage the upcoming Venezuelan sanctions? It's going to take a lot of the sour crude out of the market. Obviously, that's already been priced from a market point of view. But nevertheless, how does OPEC deal with that?
Yeah, and that's a very difficult thing for them to deal with. And I think that will play into not only this weekend with the pre-meeting leading into the big meeting next month for OPEC and the allies, but that dynamic is continually shifting, and you continue to see the political unrest there, and the U.S. is putting pressure on them. Couple that with the Iranian waivers. And, yeah, you've got a couple of wild cards out there that could interfere with the current production cuts. So, again, we're looking at about 1.2 million barrels from Venezuela right now, and some have estimated even lower than that. If we continue to see that decline over the next couple of months, and particularly if the U.S. puts significant pressure on Venezuela, then you have to think that OPEC's going to have to adjust for that.
WTI, Brent, the spread's narrowing a little bit. Does that carry on?
It could, and I think primarily right now the reason why we're seeing that, Guy, is because we're seeing U.S. production topping out. We're seeing rig counts being reined in here the last couple of weeks. So once again, we're seeing those production in the U.S. topping out, and the market anticipated that to continue to incline. So we see that production cut here in the U.S. I would expect that you see that spread continue to narrow if we see the U.S. top out here at the current levels.